everyone, welcome back to Cash Flow Confidence. I'm Shelby Ashley, and I help business owners feel more confident about their cash flow. So in recent episodes, I've been talking a lot about your financial picture as a whole, line by line, why your profitability does not match your bank account and kind of what to do about that. But today, I want to zoom out a little bit and talk about a trend that I've been seeing, and that is small business owners selling to big private equity firms. And what I mean by private equity firm is those big corporations that buy up smaller businesses just to have them as part of their portfolio. They might buy you out completely, or you might retain like the tiniest bit of control, but they have pretty much complete oversight over your business once they purchase it. And so on the surface, that can look like a dream because you get a big payout, you get to give your headache to somebody else finally. Somebody else is taking over, and to you, it just kind of looks like, I can finally wash my hands of this. And so, depending on the day you've had as a business owner, that can kind of seem pretty appealing. And I want to talk about that and talk about what really goes on behind the scenes when that happens. So why this trend is happening and what nobody really tells you until it's too late so that you know whether or not selling is right for you. So let's dig in. I've talked about a little bit about what private equity firms are, but basically they're just hunting for cash flow and very low hassle growth. So they target businesses that are already profitable and already have predictable revenue with, strong operations, but they don't yet have big price tags because they haven't scaled yet. And when I say scaled, I mean that like you as the business owner are still very much involved in the day-to-day operations of the business. And so that can look kind of tempting when an email comes through with, hey, I want to buy your business, and they know like nothing about you. But that is kind of the thing, they know nothing about you. So they're using your playbook, your life's work, and your life's passion as just an asset in their overall portfolio. And in a lot of cases, they're not buying your business because they just love your team and love what you've built and they love your clients or your vision. They're buying it because they think they can squeeze more money out of it. That's what it comes down to. And so what most owners don't see coming is that once the deal closes, your team is probably going to feel completely blindsided because in reality, they're probably going to get let go because these big operational private equity firms already have teams in place that can run your business. I mean, there might be a few on your team that are completely integral if, only one person knows this particular code or something like that. But in most cases, they're going to try to replace everybody to cut costs. And, that's gonna come as a big surprise to you and your team. Beyond that, your customer service really starts to slip because private equity firms, they want to get it done as efficiently as possible. They don't care about quality like you do. When it comes to your customers and the people that you have fostered relationships with, you care about the quality of your work, or at least you should, right? These private equity firms do not. And so think about that when you think about selling to one of these, because the quality of your work that your name has been attached to is really going to change. Beyond that, your culture and your values will change because this has been your business. And so you've been the one to set the tone and the culture. And now you've got strangers coming in that are going to run things, and it's going to be, completely different. And because you've sold all or most of all of it away, you have zero control now. So even if you're promised like some kind of transition period or maybe an advisory role in the future, the reality is that you're now just a line item on somebody else's balance sheet. That's it. They don't care about what you've built. They don't care about keeping your clients happy. They care that the business makes money, but they're going to do that in the most efficient way possible. And as far as your team and your clients are concerned, that may not always be the best thing. So how do you know even if selling is right for you? You've heard me preach before on this podcast that you should always treat your business as if you're going to sell tomorrow, not for the fact of actually selling your business, but because by treating your business that way, you remove yourself out of it and you build a machine that runs completely without you. That's the only way to achieve financial freedom and peace. And so when you're thinking about your exit plan, you need to ask yourself, first, what kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? Once this is all said and done and it's your time to go, are you going to be proud of what you've built and left behind? Ask yourself, do you actually even want to sell, or do you just want relief from the day-to-day? Because the two are not the same, okay? Getting relief from the day-to-day does not involve just selling the business, okay? You hire to get relief from the day-to-day. then you're still in control, but you've got other folks doing the work, okay? Ask yourself, are you selling because you're burned out, or is it because you've already achieved what it is that you set out to build? There's a big difference in selling because you've resented it now and you just want to be done with it, and selling because you finally achieved that big vision that kind of anchored you in when you first started, and all those, months and years of just pure hustle. That vision is what kept you going, right? So once you've achieved that, that's when it's a good time to sell. You've built it, you've got a legacy going, and now you can walk away peacefully. And then one of the most important questions is, would you be proud of what this company becomes after you hand it over? And so you have to be very confident that whoever takes over after you, whoever you sell it to, is going to take what you have built and they're just going to further it. Like, just because it's not yours anymore doesn't mean you don't want to still be proud of it. I mean, I would hate to build a business and then sell it and then see it just tank and be ran into the ground. So selling doesn't always mean peace and freedom. And in fact, depending on how the deal is structured, you might be locked into like an earn-out period or some kind of retention clause or like a non-compete. And so if selling is on your radar, just slow down and get really, really, really clear on why it is that you're selling. So when you do get time to get ready to sell, there is a better way to do it that doesn't involve giving it to somebody who's just going to gut it and then leave your team wondering what the heck just happened. So what I recommend instead is build the business so that it can run without you. You've heard me preach this, and I'm still going to talk about it. Build it so it can run without you. Even if you never plan to sell, this makes you feel more free, more profitable, and more attractive to any future buyer, including, whether that's somebody from your team or somebody that you've been talking to for a while. Build it so it can run without you, okay? Document all of your systems, so clear SOPs, things like that. You need clear policies and procedures. I mean, I don't care if you just started yesterday. Document everything down. And then sell to somebody who is aligned with your vision. So whether that's a current employee, a lot of my clients, that's their exit plan, is they already have the employee in mind that they're going to sell to, because that employee is also just as passionate as they are, and they can realize that. Plus, they already know how everything works. So a lot of times that's what happens is, you end up just selling it to one of your employees. Or maybe you want to sell it to a competitor that, kind of aligns the same values and culture that you do. Or maybe one of your customers wants to buy it. Whatever it is, sell it to somebody who wants to grow it without just completely cutting it all up. And then finally, and most importantly, make sure you structure the deal around what you want. Okay, remember that nobody is forcing you to sell this business. This is your decision. So you get to structure the deal around what you want, not just dollar-wise, but how long you want to stay involved, what happens to your team after you go, what level of control that you want to keep, if any, and how the brand lives on without you. That way, when you do walk away, you walk away proud and with a sense of achievement that you have left a legacy behind. So what I want you to take away from this episode is that selling your business does not necessarily mean selling out, but it is something that deserves your thought and a very clear strategy, because you worked really hard to build something that helps people. It supports your family. It supports your employees' families. And bottom line, it means a lot to you. So don't just hand it off to the highest bidder just to get rid of it and hope for the best, right? And so if you've got a buddy that owns a business and they've just been man, I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm done with it. Somebody emailed me yesterday thinking about buying my business. Send this episode to them so that they'll sit down and really think about it. But until then, that's all I have for now. See you guys next week.